Hey, hello, how you doing? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. We're wearing the same clothes as the podcast. Oh my God, we didn't change. We didn't plan this. This was an accident. We just happened to be wearing the same thing. It's unbelievable. We're here on the Market Down podcast. My name is probably Daniel. I have a last name. It's Hernandez. I'm joined by Nicholas Cummins, better known on this podcast as Rev or the Reverend, or that's it, really. And we're also joined by James, last name redacted. He had a last name, and then Creative decided it would be best if he didn't have one. He'd probably get over more if he just got to get rid of one of the names. And we kept the first name, and we got rid of the last name. I wish I knew. It's already gone from my memory. Who knows? But we're here to talk about Survivor Series. Survivor Series is supposedly this Sunday. I'm not sure I believe that, but what are you gonna do? We might as well make some predictions about it. There's not a lot going on in this card. It's just a lot of Raw versus Smackdown stuff. Raw filled with people who were just on Smackdown a few weeks ago. SmackDown filled with people who were just on Raw a few weeks ago. Both brands filled with people who were on NXT a few weeks ago. Both brands having people that will probably be fired by April. So, it'll be a super important show. A lot is on the line. Brand supremacy. The most important thing. It is the Fox network versus USA. Freaking right wing versus left wing. I don't know who owns USA, but here we go. The first match, and least important by far, is Shinsuke Nakamura, the Intercontinental Champion, versus the United States Champion, Damian Priest. I say it's least important because there was no build. They just mentioned it on a graphic on Raw. Also, Shinsuke Nakamura has been pinned twice in the past 2 weeks by people way further down the card than Damian Priest. So I don't know. It's tough to really predict who's going to win this one. So Rev, your borderline ESPN analysis. Who do you have in this match?
I'm a big Shinsuke Nakamura guy. Have been since he got to NXT. It's nice to see him with a title finally, and I would like him to win, but I also really like Damian Priest because he's from both New York City and Rockland County, and I've lived in both of those places, and he's Puerto Rican. So it's hard to pick here. I'm going to go with Damian Priest. I think Nick, other member of the podcast, made a good point a few episodes back where Priest has been pretty well protected since he's come up, and even more protected since he has won the U.S. title. And I expect that to continue on Sunday night, so I will take Damian Priest in this match.
Yep. I can't say I blame you for that one. James, who are you going to pick in this coin toss of a match?
I think Shinsuke is going to lose another Survivor Series match as Intercontinental Champion. And I think Damian Priest is just way too hot right now. And Shinsuke should be putting him over. But I do think it's actually going to be a very good match. I think this is going to be a sleeper for fans. They have very similar styles. They have very similar striking styles. And I think it'll be good. But I'm going to go Priest.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised. Although I will disagree. I don't think Priest has been that hot lately because he's not really been on TV. But I get what you mean, though. In general, he has been, and he's very well protected, like you both have said. So I will also be going with Damian Priest. Surprise. I actually think this match is only going to go 8 minutes, but it should be a fun 8 minutes. Next on the card is RK Bro versus the Usos. This one is way harder to call, but that's not saying much because of the last match. James, you are a big bloodline guy, but I think you've also enjoyed the RK Bro dynamic. So who you got in this? Who do you think's gonna win, but also who you want to win?
I want RK Bro to win. and I think they will get the win. I think the reality is, unfortunately, Riddle is just a very good fall guy. He could take a pin and no one's going to really feel bad about it because he's so likable and he's so good that you could just put him right back into a winning situation and it'll be fine. I think Sunday is not going to be the best night for the Bloodline. So I think starting off with a loss for the Usos is kind of key. And I think RK Bro is just too hot a team right now. So I'm going my second Raw prediction, my second Raw win.
Ooh, okay. I don't know how you look in red, but I'm sure it's good. So that's fine. And I'm gonna throw it to Mr. To your point, James, Reverend. It's a drinking game for you guys. If you want to drink every time Rev says to your point, James, have fun.
Oh, no, you want a real drinking game? Go and watch James and I's post Full Gear episode and drink every time one of us says absolutely. You will be dead within the first 10 minutes.
Absolutely dead.
So maybe don't do that, and we are not to be held responsible should you do that. Anyway, I have watched so little WWE in the last 3 months that I don't really know what RK Bro has been doing other than hanging on to the titles and feuding with AJ and Omos, however you say his name. So the only thing I know about them is that Randy Orton has a fucking scooter. For those of you who saw that clip. I guess I'll go with them. I think James is right in that I think the Bloodline is going to have a bad night, and we'll get to the Roman BigE match in a sec. So, yeah, if you really want all of them to lose, that obviously then the RK Bro's got to win. So, you know what? Give me RK Bro. Fuck it.
All right. I like where this is going. Oh, man, you guys are... I think it's a coin toss. Actually, I don't think it's that brave of a pick, but still, I like where you guys are at, and I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with RK Bro just because the Usos can lose. They're very well protected, but they're also just it's two fall guys, whereas RK Bro just has the one fall guy. Shout out to Fall Guys. What a great free game. But yeah, I'm agree with you guys. I'm going to go with RK Bro. So next up, we have traditional Survivor Series match for the women. It is going to be Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. I'm going to tell you right now, definitely off the top of my head, not looking at my notes or anything, that Team Raw is Rhea Ripley, Zelina Vega, Carmella, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan versus Sasha Banks, Shotzi, maybe Blackheart, but just Shotzi for now, fucking Natalya for some reason, Shayna Baszler, and Vacant. And I think SmackDown has a big advantage having Vacant on their side.
All-timer. First ballot Hall of Famer Vacant.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting, to see how this goes. It is Vacant because they removed Aaliyah from the team because that's the theme of Survivor Series this year is to just announce the teams nonchalantly on social media and then on TV just take people off for no good reason. I guess because she threw up in the ring. That's why they took her off. And that's pretty fucked up. But rather than this impossible to call match with such huge stakes on the line, who do you have? And how many of the participants do you remember after I just said it?
Oh, I'm reading it. Who do I have? Let's see. What'd that land on? Heads. I guess I have Raw.
There we go. It was only a matter of time before there was a coin flip.
That went way higher than I thought it did and hit my ceiling. That's why I didn't catch it.
Sweet. James, who do you have?
I am not flipping a coin on this. I am just straight up giving it to Raw again. The women on Raw are way more protected than the women on SmackDown are, for at least the teams. You have Bianca Belair, who was a juggernaut who just hit the wall that is Beckylynch. You have Rhea Ripley, who's also very protected. Who else is on there? Is Nikki's on there, right?
No, Nikki's not on there. That was
Nikki's
part of
not.
the story.
Oh, that's funny. Poor that woman
Vega,
is the women.
Carmella, and Liv are the other three.
I think Liv is actually going to have a really good showing. Or I'm blindly really just hoping against hope that Liv is going to have a really good showing. And
That'd be nice.
Carmella is Carmella. You know, she tends to win things even when it doesn't make sense. And SmackDown has Natalya, so I think that says all it needs to say.
I'm so happy you said that, James. I feel like it's becoming a reoccurring thing that we say Carmella wins things she shouldn't have won. That's like the third time we've said that on this podcast. But also, yeah, Natalya sucks. Team Raw, Liv Morgan's the number 1 contender, so her team should win. She should be the sole survivor, or at least one of the sole survivors. But let's not dwell too much on a match that's had no build.
I'm really glad that quarter landed on heads, because now I'm looking at this. Raw's gonna freaking smack the shit out of them. Yeah, there's no way Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley are losing this match. And hopefully, James, Liv Morgan does have a good showing, because she needs to get pushed sooner. Please, just in general, push Liv. She's a lot of fun.
Well, she's the number 1 contender. She should have at least a good showing in this match. So
she's number 1 contender.
Yep, she's number 1 contender. She's in a feud with Beckylynch. That's a fun fact, real quick. That this past Raw, man, they did a great job of building to Liv Morgan versus Beckylynch, a match that is not happening at this pay-per-view. That's all Raw was built to matches that aren't happening at this pay-per-view.
Shows you how much I actually pay attention to this bullshit.
Wow. So if you guys can believe it, there's another traditional Survivor Series match on this card. It's 5-on-5. But this time, instead of women, there's men. It's fucking crazy.
That is crazy.
So
I don't know how that's going to work. That sounds so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bold idea. Let's see how it pays off for them. I bet it gets less than 10 minutes. The men's 5-on-5 teams are as such. For Team Raw, we have Seth Rollins, who was on SmackDown a month ago, but let's be real, Seth Rollins is pretty much as raw as it gets. Finn Balor, who was also just on SmackDown, and also hasn't won too many matches lately. So that report about him being booked like Drew McIntyre, well, that was a lie. So Kevin Owens, who is the most interesting person on either team because he's the only one with real story. I know Seth Rollins is the number 1 contender for Big E's title, but like Kevin Owens is the only one with any sort of character development right now that's of any interest. So I'm very interested to see how he does on this. They are joined by Bobby Lashley, who beat the shit out of Rey Mysterio's son to earn his spot on the team that Dom got kicked off of for not being a WWE champion. But the next person on the team is also not a WWE champion, but took the spot of a WWE champion. And that is confusing. I'll explain it in a second. But before I say that, let me just say Lashley is only beating up people's sons in WWE because he knows he doesn't have to fight Hook. Anyway, the person whose spot sorry, fuck myself up. But anyway, Rey Mysterio fought Bobby Lashley on Raw, and Lashley won because, of course, Lashley won. And after the match, Adam Pearce, who again is as unidentifiable as an authority figure as you can be, he's so neutral, but for some reason now he's a heel, and he really cares about making sure Raw's team is really good, even though he manages both shows. He came out and kicked Rey Mysterio off the team for losing the match, and then went against what he said last week, where he kicked Dom off for not being a champion, and added Austin Theory in place of Rey Mysterio. And that makes sense with the feud he's having, but it also doesn't make sense with the rules that Pierce established 1 week ago. Also, unlike you guys, I don't see anything in Theory. But they're facing Team SmackDown, who is undoubtedly captained by Drew McIntyre, who you may know as the guy who was WWE champion on Raw for what feels like 3 years. He is heading up the Team SmackDown brand, because of course he is. He is joined by King Woods, who is just delightful, so I won't make a joke. They are joined by fucking Jeff Hardy, who, oh god, if he pins someone, it's gonna be upsetting. Sorry, you can like him all you want, but he's one of those guys that shouldn't be winning matches anymore, and I think we all know that. So you know, whatever. Him being on the team is whatever. They're joined by Happy Corbin, who is, you know, besides Drew, the most protected person on the team, and who knows what he's gonna do, because Happy Corbin was almost amazing, but the build up to Happy Corbin was great. Happy Corbin himself, fucking terrible. That's WWE way. And they're also joined by someone pulling double duty, and that is fucking vacant. 2 matches in one night. He can't.
That's why they're the best.
Stuff up.
That's why they're the best.
Sami Zayn was removed from this team because they figured, fuck it, you missed Crown Jewel, you might as well be off Survivor Series too. So, you know, this one, it's a toss-up. You got a #1 contender on one team in Seth Rollins, but you got Drew McIntyre on the other team. So it could go either way. James, why don't you get upset about what I said about Jeff Hardy and then give me your pick?
I am jiggling with rage right now. And I think
Jiggling with rage.
Jiggling with rage right now. I think Jeff might pin Austin Theory just to get like a little bit of closure on their mini feud before Jeff left for SmackDown. But yeah, whatever.
That's you being brainwashed by WWE, because the closure was that Theory won that feud.
I know, but I want happy closure. And I don't know. I genuinely think, Jeff Hardy aside, I think SmackDown wins this match. It's my first SmackDown.
Happy Corbin was on
of course. But I think Drew is super protected. I think Corbin is weirdly protected, and so it's Drew, it's Jeff, it's Corbin, it's Woods, and it's vacant. I think Woods is also in a high right now. I think he's going to be kind of weirdly protected too. And I think the key to this, though, is going to be Raw's infighting. I think Rollins and Owens are just going to be at each other's necks. And what Bobby's probably going to be the last man standing for Raw before they go down. But we'll see. Maybe that'll be how Drew gets his win back against Bobby. And yeah, I'm going the first SmackDown prediction of the night for me.
Everything you said makes complete sense. Reverend, where are you at from your haven't watched perspective?
I'm like running down the card now, because I was gonna pick Raw, because I'm looking at it, and you know Seth, Finn, KO, and Lashley all seem like guys who are going to be really hard. You know, it's going to be really hard to eliminate all 4 of them. And, you know, because Theory is a little expendable, as much as I enjoy his work. And, you know, as compared to Drew, Jeff, Woods, and Corbin, and we'll see who the 5th person is. But it seems like it's a lot harder to eliminate Raw's 4 guys than SmackDown's 4 guys. A lot of this has to depend on who ends up filling in for vacant. As I don't know why they would replace vacant, the greatest of all time, but they usually end up doing that. And I still want to pick Raw, but you know, looking at the card, I don't want to pick Raw for the entire thing. So I might just pick SmackDown just to have a SmackDown team on here, because I don't want to pick a clean sweep. I don't think they would do that. So I'm going to go against my initial gut feeling and go with SmackDown.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I understand not wanting to just pick all Raw, but I mean, they've done that before in Survivor Series, where Raw's just won all the matches. And they've also now SmackDown's the higher paying show, so it could go the other way. But yeah, it's I think it's definitely SmackDown. I think James hit the nail on the head. Rollins is the number one contender, but he has beef with Owens, and it's easy to write. Also, Rollins gets pinned and then becomes number one contender like quite a bit. It's almost a reoccurring thing for him at this point. And you know, all the people on Raw really can't take pins right now, so it's almost like Survivor Series matches are kind of outdated and don't really help anyone anymore. And it just means more pins that people have to eat when normally they wouldn't have to eat these pins. So yeah, I'm going with SmackDown. Drew and Woods are going to carry it, and Corbin. Hardy and Vacant, who knows? Next is surprisingly, because I thought it was a no-brainer, but I think there's actually going to be some interesting takes here. I put the men's champion versus champion match because I thought it was easier to predict, but I might have egg on my face now. For this match, we have Universal Champion, Forever Champion, never gonna lose the title champion, James's wet dream champion, never ending constantly wet hair champion, Roman Reigns versus Large E, the WWE champion. So this match before Crown Jewel seemed like it was going to be awesome. Like, it seemed like they were going to put so much focus and emphasis on New Day versus the Bloodline, and that just didn't happen. There's been no build to this either, really. For a match that they were starting to build before Crown Jewel, they had like an anti-build, and now it's just nothing. And the only excitement is the fact that BigE is fresh and this makes this new. And other than that, it's just another non-build match on this card. But I thought it'd be easy to predict, but you guys seem to be leaning one way. Rev, do you care to shock the world with your pick here?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure James and I are on the same page here, so I apologize for immediately stealing all of your stuff, James. Because like you said before, I think Roman and the Bloodline are in for a rough night. And I think what's going to end up happening here is at least how I see this being booked is the Usos will probably come out and try to interfere. And I would not be shocked if Brock Lesnar showed up and even the playing field just to get inside Roman's head and fuck with him. I could be way wrong. Who knows? Brock might be back on his farm, you know, cutting down a tree or hunting a deer or something with his bare hands. I think obviously is Kofi healthy? I don't even know.
I think he's off with an injury for now. It's minor, but I think he had a knee injury.
I think he could get involved in stuff, but I don't think he's capable of working a match right now. I think he could take like a light bump. Yeah,
because like I could also see the New Day running down to protect BigE from the Bloodline too. But if Kofi's not 100%, then maybe that doesn't happen. But I think that what's ended up going to happening is the Usos' interference probably ends up distracting Roman, and that costs him the win. And BigE gets the pin. I think that this is a good way to end Roman's winning streak without him having to lose the title. And losing against another champion is obviously still very credible, so it still makes him look good. And then he can still keep going with, I haven't lost to anybody on SmackDown since I got him back. Shit. So I think it's a good way just to finally put an L on Roman's card, and it keeps him a little pissed at the Usos, and if they want to, they can get Lesnar back involved. So give me E.
Oh my God, that's okay. Well, just to put a slight caveat, Roman did technically lose his first match on Friday. He lost via DQ to Xavier Woods.
Okay,
so.
Well then he hasn't been pinned or submitted.
No,
yet,
yeah, I got
so.
you. I know what you mean. Just before all the trolls in their comment section, get on you because they're all there. We get hundreds of comments. You know,
Yeah.
but
But
we gotta protect
WWE
ourselves.
doesn't count those, so that's why I did. Like,
They pick and choose. James, do you also want to blow my freaking mind right now with your pick?
I don't know where
He's gonna betray you, Rev.
No. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm going to like figure this out as I'm speaking to you guys because I don't know. I do appreciate you, Danny, telling him that Roman already suffered that technical first loss because I was going to. So now I don't have to be the troll. You did it for me. I don't know. Like, in a lot of ways, Big E getting that win makes so much sense because you could really make him credible. It's like Nick said, Roman could suffer his first pinfall loss without losing the title or without it feeling cheap in any way. But on the other hand,
It's Roman Reigns.
There you go. That's the most important argument of them all. It's Roman Reigns. Roman just doesn't lose. He just doesn't lose. I'm going to go with my heart and say Big E, but every instinct in me as a WWE fan is saying Roman is going to win somehow, and we're going to feel dirty as we're watching it.
I think the bigger story here is that your heart's with Big E and not Roman.
It's the same way I felt about Hangman and Kenny. Is Kenny my guy? Yes. Did Hangman need to win? Yes. Is Roman my guy? Yes. Does Big E need to win? Yes.
Okay, so you just like faces of the company. Sheesh.
I have like a weird history of liking guys that then go on to becoming like the face of the company. Like in the Shield before like there was ever that like notion of Roman is the guy. That night they debuted, I just looked at Roman. I was like, this is the one I like because fuck Tyler Black and Dean Ambrose looks weird. So there's just something about Roman Reigns that I like. And then he became Roman Reigns. It's a weird thing that I can pick these guys before they become majors.
I understand that. I felt the same way about Seth Rollins, but that was mainly because his hair was half blocked at the time. But
and how was it Dean, guys? So I guess we're all covered here.
I mean, everybody wins. Everybody won in some way.
Yeah, there we go. But man, I am impressed. I ordered this thinking, well, we got to keep it towards the end because it's definitely going to be the main event. But like, I thought it'd be so predictable. But man, you guys have really put some points out there. I mean, you haven't changed my mind at all. I'm going to pick Roman Reigns. But like, you know, I hope you guys are right. I really do. Like, I'd rather be wrong on this one. But yeah, it's going to be Roman Reigns. You see, where you guys are thinking about things like, oh, how good would it be for Big E to get this win? See, they already decided that they're not going to do that when they didn't have him cash in on Roman Reigns. And right now, the WWE title does not matter. This is all about the money match is now apparently Xavier Woods versus Roman Reigns. So Roman Reigns is going to beat the WWE champion Big E as just a build for him to beat Xavier Woods, because the number one contender to Roman Reigns is above the WWE champion right now. And that's not my opinion. That is just what is presented to me from the past year and a half. And that's what it is. Somehow, Xavier Woods is the main event guy of the New Day right now, not WWE champion Big E, not former WWE champion Kofi Kingston. It's Xavier Woods, and Big E's going to eat that pin to build his match with Xavier Woods. And that was weird to say out loud. But
you just killed my vibe. Like, you killed my buzz for this.
That's the first time we've disagreed on a match so far this episode.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to pick the Usos, but I wanted to be like you guys, and I picked RK Bro. But yeah, this is the only one where
so far
I can't see it. I can't see it. But like I said, if I'm wrong, that's fantastic. So finally on this show, this has a chance to be in the main event, but it'll likely be the WWE versus Universal Championship match because it's Romanreigns. But it is Beckylynch, nobody's favorite whatsoever, versus Corella Flair in a Raw versus SmackDown Women's Champion match. Beckylynch is the Raw Women's Champion. Charlotte Flair is the SmackDown Women's Champion. 3 weeks ago, those roles were reversed. But, you know, brand loyalty and supremacy and all that shit. They've turned a shoot into a little bit of a work to drum up excitement for this match, or at least they've accidentally drummed up excitement for this match. And I think it's hard to call because Beckylynch is the most over female on the roster and the most over female they've had in a long time, and just one of the most over stars in general. But on the other hand, Charlotte. And Charlotte doesn't beat everyone, but she wins at the wrong time a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised how I think Charlotte taking the SmackDown Women's title off Becky a month after she won both titles at WrestleMania was a terrible decision, but it's a very WWE decision. And they could do it again here, but, you know, we'll see. James, by all means, start us off on this one. The only hard match to really call on this show.
Yeah, no, this one could go either way, and I know it's just gonna feel like obviously Becky is the satisfying answer, but really I will not feel satisfied no matter who wins because I don't care about this match, which is just a terrible thing to admit. But maybe they give it to Becky to punish Charlotte. Maybe they give it to Charlotte to keep building her heat. I'm gonna go Becky because I would never want to bet against big time Becks. But I don't know. I like there's an argument for both. I just think maybe it makes more sense to have Becky win, so it feels bigger if Liv beats her. Maybe.
That's adorable.
I know.
I think Liv has a chance, but I do think it's a factor in it. I think Liv versus Becky is honestly going to be bigger than Charlotte versus Tony, which sounds weird to say out loud because Tony Storm, but like,
Yeah.
Also, I didn't mention it. We talked about this whole thing on Raw, but it was kind of funny when Becky came out. She cut a promo on Charlotte, and she was totally a face during this promo. And then Liv came out because Liv's number one contender, and for some reason they're building the matches that aren't on the pay-per-view. But she came out, and then Becky literally flipped the switch and was heel for this promo and just started shitting on Liv Morgan. And honestly, I know that sounds dumb, but it was executed so well that it's like, yeah, Becky's 100% the babyface going into this match because there's no, as they've learned the hard way, the very hard way, there's not a fucking world that exists that they'll make us cheer Charlotte over Becky. So they just didn't even try this time, which is nice, at least. But with that, I'm trying to add as much detail as possible for Rev since, you know, he's not watching. But that's everything we were talking about earlier, and this right now is the gist of what you need to know to make an educated guess on this match.
You say that like I'm gonna pick against Becky. I don't give a fuck what they're doing. I'm not picking against Becky. The only thing that makes me nervous here is, you know, good old Romanreigns and Charlotte Flair, and you know, her getting a fucking win she shouldn't get. But no, Becky, always Becky. It's Becky.
All right.
Becky.
Beautiful put. Beautifully put. That's probably one of my favorite poems I've ever heard. I loved it. Yeah, like I just don't know who to go with right now. It's just so like it's so tough. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Becky. There's always the Charlotte factor, especially because there's no benefit to Charlotte winning. So that's why I think she could win. Because
Is there ever?
there used to be 2016, like there was. That's about it. So, yeah, this one, I don't care what makes sense. You better give Becky the fucking win. Like, she just came back. She's the biggest star. She's the one on talk shows, like actual talk shows, not bullshit morning radio shows. No offense to bullshit morning radio shows. They're great. But there's a big difference between a local morning radio show and late night with Stephen Colbert or whatever the fuck his is called. All the late night shows sound the same. And once again, as a reoccurring thing on this podcast, fuck Jay Leno, Conan all day. But yes, we have one match where we disagree on. So this is technically, by my own standards, the most invested I'll be in a Roman Reigns match probably ever, because he's the only one I differed on than you guys. So
yeah, the only way one of us is gonna win is literally in that match. So yeah, either me and James tie and win, or me and James tie and lose.
I mean,
good.
If it comes down to a tie between Nick and I think we should do a prediction
on who the vacants are going to be.
That or order of eliminations, or who stays in, who stays out.
Okay, so yeah, let's do it. That sounds fun. Real quick, let's not do order of eliminations. That sounds like it'll take too long. But yeah, women's match. Who's the sole survivor, guys? I'm gonna say Liv Morgan.
I don't know if there will be a sole survivor. I can.
It could be plural. You can say.
Okay, I think I got Bianca, Rhea, and Liv all making it through for Raw.
So we might just be tied, because I'm gonna make the same fucking prediction.
God damn it, James.
Really? I think normally that makes sense, but I could also see Rhea getting pinned.
Yeah, Rhea's the one. No, Nick, I called it first. I'm agreeing with Danny. Rhea, if any, Rhea will get knocked out.
All right, so I'll take the three of them then.
You got to look at it like this: she's a tag team champion, and
Yeah.
WWE loves pinning tag champs. So
yeah, I'm going with just the two of them. I'm going with Bianca and Liv.
All right, sounds good. I'm going with just Liv because I think Doudrop will somehow get Bianca eliminated. Also, not that it matters because I already have a different prediction, you guys. For the men, who is the sole survivor, and why is it Drew? And if not just Drew, who else do you have with them?
I have Drew. Jeff pins everybody. No. I have Drew being a survivor. I have, who else is on that fuck? It depends on who fucking vacant is. Like, they're making too big a deal about it at this point. Drew. This sucks. Yeah, I have Drew being sole survivor. Just because it's easy. And I don't have everybody in front of me.
Rev.
I kind of want to change my pick to Team Raw now.
Fuck you. Because then you're gonna be tied with him.
I literally can't do it just because fucking I have all Raw picks then, and I don't think Raw's sweeping. I'm shocked I only have one pick for SmackDown. It's probably bad. Who do I think so? Yeah, Drew and you know what, Drew. I'm gonna pick Drew and Vacant, and whoever Vacant is gonna make it. I don't care who it is. They're gonna make it through.
Yeah. Nice call. I'm gonna agree with James. I think it's just Drew, but I could see it being Vacant. But I also don't think the Vacants are gonna be as big a deal as we think because there's multiple of them. But anyway, speaking of Vacants, on the women's team, Rev, who is the Vacant on Team SmackDown?
I don't know. Who's on the roster?
Not a lot.
Is Bailey cleared yet?
I don't think so, but it could be. I mean, that's as good a guess as any.
Yeah, screw it. Maybe it's Bailey.
All right, James.
See, I was thinking Bailey too, but also like maybe it could be Lacey Evans.
Oh yeah, she's a thing.
She had the baby.
That's kind of mean, but I just.
Okay.
She had the baby, and I think she had the baby before Becky did.
No way.
She didn't?
She just found out she was pregnant this year.
Yeah, she was out
Okay, fair
after
enough.
Becky.
Fair. I wasn't sure. I guess I had the timeline wrong because I just remembered like the horrible Ric Flair Charlotte storyline.
Yeah, and that was in the Thunderdome, and Becky left before that.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. So I don't know. I'll go with Bailey.
Wow, really trying to. I'm just gonna say it's Tegan Knox. Doesn't matter.
Oof.
Yeah. So, final prediction, guys. In the matchup of this pay-per-view versus our attention spans, who do you got? Rev?
I'm gonna take this pay-per-view because they're definitely gonna kill my attention span very, very easily. You think I'm hungover today? You should see me after this pay-per-view because it's gonna take a lot of alcohol to get through it. So yeah, this is going to be a drag, but for the sake of all of you viewers, I will suffer through it and report back.
Y'all are killing any vibe that I could have for this.
I mean, it's shame on you for even having a vibe. Like, how dare you?
I know everybody's right. This was such a thrown together pay-per-view. There's no reason to care about it. But I do think that the Survivor Series matches will be fun, most likely. They always are. Like, even if we're not happy with the winner, like, the matches themselves are fun.
So you're picking your attention span.
At least for those two matches, I'll be able to hold it together.
Okay.
And Roman BigE.
This show's gonna wipe the floor with us. That being said, have a great time, David. Have a great time being there live and in person. Our producer is gonna be there live and in person, holding up a giant sign. You're not gonna want to miss it. It's gonna be fantastic. So yeah, have a great time, David. Sorry if we've killed any hype. Maybe don't listen to what we say as you edit this and just enjoy the show. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to our Survivor Series predictions. I'd like to think that this predictions has been at least a little bit more entertaining than the build has been to the show. So, you're welcome for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before on the podcast, but James will rap if we hit 100 subscribers. And I really want that to happen, guys. This is like a genuine, sincere moment I want to have with you guys, our loyal viewers. There's so many of you out there, and we just need some of you to subscribe so James can do that. I really want this. It's been a rough couple of years for everyone, and there's not many things that can really help bring us together and help heal us as a country, as a world. But this is one of those things. So guys, please just hit subscribe. We're gonna get there. The rap is done. He's ready to go. Just please help us get there. I guess also follow us on social media. We have all of them. Check the video description. We have other podcasts, coincidentally all about wrestling. So check those out too. Thank you guys for watching. Try your best to enjoy Survivor Series. Do whatever you got to do. Get fucked up, get drunk, like Rev is gonna do. Get high.
Responsibly.
Responsibly. Yeah, just weed, guys. Just not all that other stuff. you know, do push-ups every time you get bored, you know, whatever you got to do to get through it, We'll be here for you. You know, someone will probably be tweeting from our Twitter account during the show, so check in for that. And then check in to see our reactions. Maybe something crazy will happen. Maybe we've been so blah about the show, and then The Rock will come back, or like the lighting rig will explode, or something noteworthy will happen. But yeah, once again, sorry for this slightly long-winded outro, but thanks for watching the Markdown podcast. I have been some guy. I've been joined by another guy and then a third guy who doesn't have a last name specifically. Thanks for watching. That's it. Go.